Okay, everybody, this is my spoiler review of Smoke, Episode 3, Weird Milk. Before I jump into my review, just wanted to mention I interviewed Jurnee Smollett, who plays Michelle Calderone. It is such a fun time. She is awesome. So make sure to check out that interview. It is going to be linked at the end of the video and linked in the comments. And please follow me on Instagram. It really helps me in so many ways if you follow me on Instagram as well. I do movie reviews there, I do memes, a bunch of fun stuff. It helps me in so many ways you have no idea. Okay, so jumping into this episode, it starts, like every episode so far, with a word and its definition. It starts with the word denial and saying it's the disbelief in the existence or reality of a thing. So really, what we're seeing in this episode, it's really centered in on Michelle. You right away see that Michelle's in the psych evaluation, and there's a denial on her part about who she is. The psychiatrist says that undercover cops are chosen for deficiencies in their psych profiles. She says manipulative tendencies, attachment disorders, and frequent dissociation. So if we actually know the character Michelle, she has all these things we've seen played out already in the show, and that attachment being to someone who's unhealthy for her, like Steven. The manipulative tendencies can be how she's framed a whole cover story for what happened with the Doomsdayer, and frequent dissociation is just kind of what we've seen in her personality with issues in her life and probably thinking about what happened with her mom. But where denial also comes into play for Michelle is actually a better side of it that she's on, where her family is in denial about her mother, where she is not, and that she knows her mother did something wrong and truly evil in the past. And that's the big reveal in this episode, where I thought in the first two episodes she wanted her mom out of jail, but now we see she wants her to keep her in there, and we got more clues to what happened in the past, where we saw that her mom locked her in the closet with the fire with handcuffs, and that someone came to rescue her, and that somebody was shot, which was insane. That was the big twist there too. So I wonder what exactly she saw. I'm sure her mom probably shot maybe the person who saved her, and that's why she knows her mom wasn't just under the influence of drugs, that this was her true self, and that's the denial her family uses, and that the priest goes so far to not understand why she deserves an apology, which was insane, because even if you are the priest and you believe that the mom was fully under the influence, you still deserve to apologize to your kid for lighting the motel room on fire and putting them in a closet. I was like, who is this priest? But you see, she says to the psychiatrist, I'm invincible, I'm a job is me. You could see that's how she kind of keeps going through all this trauma she's had, like she is her job. And you see the psychiatrist says, you'll run out of road one day. And she says, but not yet. And I love that they actually wrapped that around and had that at the end of that episode when she's having kind of an emotional moment and thinking of all the stuff that's been said to her that's put her down and negative thoughts, but kind of pushing through it like she always does. And props to Jurnee Smollett, just acting great in this so far. Now, it's interesting because she tells Dave on the phone that she's got work to do on DNC, and you see how he's got that worried look on his face, like, well, Stanton's out, so we have no leads, but Calderone, we know now, is on to Dave, so I'm glad they just jumped right into this and didn't drag that part of the story out, that we know now that Dave is one of the arsonists, and that they're going right into her looking into him, which was good. So she looks into these false alarm fires, and she's looking for the cigarette butts attached to the nickels, which is Dave's device he uses. She's looking in the forests, and I like she acts out thinking that the arsonist would stop at the stop sign and throw one of those devices out. And that works, and she finds one. But of course, Steven says they can't analyze evidence, test this device, because it's not directly related to a case. So we'll see where that actually goes with it, but you see she's getting closer and closer to Dave, and there's more things that are interesting with Dave, because Dave then is writing his book, and he's writing what he thinks Milk Jug would do in his story. And he sees that one scenario doesn't make sense in his story of him just walking around with gasoline in this milk jug out in the open. So then he realizes he would obviously cover it up in a bag, which leads him then in his real life version of Milk Jug to look into what they found at the scene of these crimes. And he discovers that all of these jugs were in shopping bags, and they were all black shopping bags, which actually brings it down to only 2 stores that carried these bags. So the easy thing for Michelle to suggest is to use metal QR codes to track the next time he does one of these fires. But this is where Greg Kinnear really shines, and he makes a Santa joke of the department actually being able to afford this and approving the money for this tech. I thought that was great. There's always this humorous thing where Michelle is always shot down by Dave or Greg Kinnear with these great ideas she has and how it will just not happen. Now, also what's important with Dave, with him writing, he writes a line to start a paragraph saying, with Maddox watching supermarkets, so we're learning the character Maddox is based off of Michelle. Donald knew it was time to change targets. So he's talking about himself here. And it directly leads to a woman's BMW being lit on fire. So this is where we'll see when Dave shows up to the scene, and then Michelle asks him, you figure this is DNC, the DNC arsonist, which we know is Dave. And you see Dave's like, no, it's a different MO, but it's the same physical description. But the big thing about me believing this is obviously Dave is because the last scene we saw of Dave before this scene was literally him writing about Donald having to change his target. So maybe he's going from supermarkets now to just lighting up cars in people's driveways. Dave was also getting sweaty when Michelle asked the victim if the perpetrator was wearing gloves. And I believe that Dave is obviously changing his target like he's writing because she's on to him with the supermarkets, and that he's going to ditch the limp completely so he gets off her scent, maybe thinking eventually it's a different arsonist. That's what Dave wants her to believe now, but it's clearly Dave. Now we see, like I already mentioned, Michelle at the hearing and saying that she deserves an apology from her mom, which is true, and she's the one who says her mom deserves to still be in jail where her family doesn't agree with her. And that's where the drunk brother grabs her. He's not happy with what she did at the hearing, but she sticks up for himself. And all this is making you just root for Michelle more and more. She's such a likable character. And we have this big scene to end the episode where she's having all these thoughts that were there to put her down, and she's fighting against it now. So it's going to be interesting to see where it goes with Michelle, all the drama she has in her personal life, and figuring out on this cat and mouse chase, which I love, with Dave and getting to catch Dave, which is going to be intense when she figures it all out, if that happens. Now, before I wrap my review, I want to talk about everything going on with Freddy, the milk jug arsonist. You know, Freddy's interesting because he could snap at any moment. They've always teased that. Even here where he freezes at a fire starting on the stove and he's pushed by his coworker and then he gets back in his face. Very scary. But in his manager interview, I did think it was weird how they framed the scene because the suit that is interviewing him has his family photo like on the front of a desk that the suit wouldn't be able to see his own family in a happy memory on vacation. It's just for the person there to enjoy, which I thought was strange. Like, why not just put that picture behind him and then have Freddy point it out and then him look behind at it? I thought that was a really weird decision by the director, but so be it. It's such a nitpick, but I thought it was so odd. But then it makes me wonder, is that going to be one of Freddy's next targets, this happy family, especially because he clearly is not going to get this job because the interview doesn't go great and Freddy's refreshing his email at night. He's getting nothing. So you feel bad for Freddy, even though you know he's this guy who's this arsonist, but they're making you feel for this dude who just has this dream now of being a manager and he can't have just the things he needs to say or read the cues to get up in that field. He just struggles. He's saying what he truly believes, but he's just not seasoned enough yet. So I think this is just leading up into Freddy going after that man who interviewed his family now. So overall, I'm going to give this episode an 8.5. I was a little disappointed in a week-to-week show how short it was. I think it was only about 43 minutes. So I think I would have put it a higher score if there's a little more meat to it. But what we got of it, I enjoyed. I think that I'm fully invested still, and I'm really enjoying the show. I'm excited to see where it goes next. But I'm ready to watch the next episode like right now. So I guess that's a good thing in the sense of the cliffhanger aspect of it where I'm that intrigued by the story. But I do wish we got a little more Dave time as well in this episode just to balance it out. It felt a little heavy on Michelle. I don't know if the show's fully going to be that. I still enjoy that too, but it did feel different kind of pacing between the back and forth we got in the first two episodes. So a little jarring, but still really enjoyed it. And I'm curious to see what you guys think of this episode and what you think might happen. We still haven't even seen John Leguizamo yet, who is in this show. He's in the trailer, so I'm excited to see him show up at some point. But I'm really feeling the show. I'm digging the intense cat and mouse game here, and if they're going to figure out Freddy and what's going to actually go on with Freddy's story now, and everything going on with Michelle's really interesting, and Dave, of course. So let me know what you thought down below. Check out my interview with Jurnee Smollett, who plays Michelle Calderone. Really fun time. And please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss one of my reviews and celebrity interviews. And please subscribe on Instagram at Steve Varley Show. I really need that right now. It'll help in so many ways. I appreciate all you guys, and I'll see you next time.